I hope the millennials understand there's nothing free.
Would it be a good idea just to wipe out everybody's student loans and say, hey, you know what, forget about it. Don't worry about paying it off.
Forget about it.
Some guy or girl decides, I'm going to be a plumber. They make that business decision. They don't go to college. They end up working 16-hour days to then subsidize the anthropology major who's now playing beer pong, right?
We're going to immediately forgive now. And Nancy Pelosi put it in, $10,000 per person, any federal student loan.
Joe Biden won the presidency with a promise to burn billions of dollars worth of student debt in a great big bonfire behind the White House. But now that he's actually in the White House, he can't seem to find the matches. Here's what's going on. When you think of the biggest lenders in the world, you might name JP Morgan, Citibank, or, the mob.
Give me the money, you understand? Give me the fucking money!
If you go get my money or I'll put your fucking brain to sleep.
Just give us the fucking money!
Where's my money?
Where's my money? I don't know! I cut your fucking liver out!
But they're all stone punks compared to another loan shark, the U.S. Department of Education, which holds about 90% of the more than $1.7 trillion worth of American student debt. And that is a big number. It's more than the annual economy of Australia, or Spain, or Brazil, or hell, about 200 other countries. Like, in $1 bills, that stack would reach literally halfway to the moon. Or, if you rolled all those dollar bills into little balls and put them in Olympic swimming pools, and then gave each pool lifeguard enough sunscreen for an afternoon in Tampa, Florida during spring break, you'd need enough sunscreen to, let's see here. Okay. Fine. Carry the 4. Let's see here. No, that can't be right. That's not it. Look, it's a lot of fucking money. And thanks to the magic of compound interest, that ginormous number keeps getting ginormouser, as people end up having to pay back way more than they borrowed in the first place.
I started with $80,000. I have been paying for 10 years. I have paid $120,000 and I still owe $76,000. How the fuck is this possible? What?
Which is why so many people are finding increasingly desperate ways to dig out from under this towering pile of soul-crushing debt. Like turning to America's de facto social safety net, GoFundMe, and asking total strangers to help bail them out.
Currently, I'm raising money for my college tuition.
I'm going to be starting a GoFundMe to help fund for my college.
I'm making this GoFundMe to help myself pay for my first semester of college.
Thanks to every small contribution, I am now able to graduate in June.
It's gotten so crazy, it's almost as if you could start a game show where contestants compete against each other to win a chance to pay off their student debt.
One of these 3 contestants is 30 minutes away from a chance to pay off their student debt.
Wait, that's a thing? Really? Holy shit. We're talking about roughly 48 million borrowers with an average of more than $36,000 in student debt, which is making people put off marriage, or buying a home, or making them take a job they don't want. It's a factor in people getting divorced, or perhaps even worse, postponing their divorce. Some of the worst off are those who got a loan, but never made it to graduation. They're often the ones who didn't have much to begin with, and took a big chance to try to get ahead, except didn't work out. So they fall into the labor pool with a lot of debt and no degree, and become the group most likely to default. And defaulting sucks, especially if you then get sued by the debt collectors.
Worst case scenario is your credit is ruined for at least 7 years or longer. Your bank accounts are frozen. Your wages are being garnished. The interest is accruing and you can't sell or buy your home.
For a lot of borrowers, a few $1,000 would be life-changing. And all of this is why student debt relief has become such a hot-button issue on the left, championed by the likes of Senators Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders.
We are going to cancel all student debt in this country.
Of course, Democrats chose Joe Biden, who's less into canceling all student debt and more into canceling some student debt.
That's why I propose to immediately provide $10,000 in debt relief as stimulus right now for students.
Note the right now part, because that was in May 2020. Sure, Biden wasn't president then, but now, more than 100 days into his presidency, there's still no sign of when right now is going to become right now.
When will then be now? Soon.
According to the Washington Post, President Joe Biden will not include any student loan cancellation in his annual budget.
So why is Biden dragging his heels? Well, for one thing, Biden has indicated in the past that he thinks young folks these days just don't have it that bad.
The younger generation now tells me how tough things are. Give me a break. No. I have no empathy for it. Give me a break.
Biden has never been as gung-ho about forgiving student debt as the progressive wing of his party. Progressives have been calling on him to raise his $10,000 pledge to $50,000. And his answer has been, and I'm paraphrasing here, hell no.
We need at least a $50,000 minimum. What will you do to make that happen?
I will not make that happen.
The way Biden sees it, he balks at helping out people who are already winning in the system. Those who borrowed, went to an Ivy League school, and are now making a shitload of money. Thank you very much.
It depends on the idea that I say to a community, I'm going to forgive the debt, the billions of dollars of debt for people who have gone to Harvard and Yale and Penn.
Which maybe shows that Biden is a little out of touch with exactly who is racking up that student debt. 8% of Yale students took out federal loans. At Harvard, it's 3%. One estimate pegs the total proportion of Ivy Leaguers' student debt at 0.3%. Even if Biden does decide to forgive $10,000, he's still got a tactical issue. Basically, he's got two options to move forward: with Congress or without him. In Congress, his problem, as usual, is the Senate. He'd need 10 Republicans to back him up, or he would need all of the Democrats to go along with a hardball parliamentary maneuver like blowing up the filibuster. That would allow them to elbow naysaying Republicans out of the way. And right now, neither looks likely. So, that leaves option 2. Forget Congress and simply issue an executive order telling the Department of Education to just start shredding that debt. This idea has some big boosters on the left.
This is one of those things that doesn't have to go through Congress. The authority is already there in law for the president and his team, the administration, the Secretary of Education, to cancel out this student loan debt.
But it's not totally, completely, 100% clear that Warren is right about that. Basically, it depends on how you read the nitty-gritty details in the law, including the Higher Education Act of 1965. Warren got a team of Harvard legal experts to back her up, but Biden doesn't seem to buy it, saying in February, quote, "I don't think I have the authority to do it by signing the pen." Now, Biden has asked his Department of Justice and Department of Education to study the law and give him their final legal opinion. But even if they say, hell yes, Mr. President, shred that debt, and Biden goes for it, that might not be the end of the story. Because it's easy to imagine a legal challenge from the right arguing Biden made the wrong call, say from GOP's state attorneys general, or from private student loan companies, which spent $4 million lobbying Congress last year to keep this sort of thing from happening.
Importantly, I believe the negative implications of unilaterally canceling outstanding federal student loan debt would be more than enough to deem this policy bad.
And if there is a legal fight, it might get to the Supreme Court, where conservatives have a 6-3 edge. And a lot of folks on the right think this whole idea is a massive waste of taxpayer money.
It makes people who paid their debts, took their obligations seriously, look like fools. You make a mockery of people who played by the rules.
it's possible Biden might go for it and end up getting slapped back by the Supreme Court justices installed by former President Trump. In other words, a lot of people who care passionately about this issue and thought Democrats' 2020 victory meant that debt relief was right around the corner are starting to wonder if it's really going to happen after all. And that uncertainty has to be weighing on students and their parents and former students and anybody related to a student. Because of the pandemic, their loan payments and the interest accruing on them were paused until September 30th, 2021. Now, they're going to be spending an anxious summer wondering whether that soul-crushing boulder of debt might get a little lighter. Or not.